Yo, what's going on? This your boy Pharaoh here. Hope everybody having a good new year for 2025. Hope everybody's safe and sound, doing good, and ready to bring in this new year, new opportunities, new possibilities, and new endeavors. And that's what it's all about. But for this video right here, this is a little short video. I wanted to talk about mortgages and why not to get a mortgage, why not to buy a house, especially if you're a young man in your 20s, even in your 30s. You know, why buying a house is just basically is pretty much basically crappy, and how personally from my personal experience, I hated having a house. You know, as far as like a mortgage goes, you know, basically the whole thing of a mortgage, and why I personally believe it's better to rent than to own. And you know, because think about it, man. Growing up, you was told this American dream type thing where it was like, oh, yeah, you should go buy a house, and you know, this, that, and the third. This whole American dream thing, it's a scam. One thing you gotta understand by now, or one thing you gotta understand or realize, is that America is basically built off of debt, and a mortgage is basically nothing but debt. That's what it is. A mortgage is thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of debt. Buying a house is probably will be one of the most expensive purchases you will probably most likely ever make in your life. So when you take on a mortgage, you're taking on basically thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of debt that you got to pay interest on. And I'm telling you right now, if you ain't got 20% to put down on the down payment when you go buy a house, you can't even afford the house. I'm just telling you that right off the rip. Right now. If you cannot put 20% of what the house is worth down as a down payment, you can't even afford that house. And I'll say this here too. Something you need to consider before buying a house. One thing you need to consider is, can you see yourself living there for at least 20 plus years? I say it again. Can you see yourself living there for 20 plus years? Because see, one of the most important decisions that you will make in life too as well is, where do you choose to live? It's a very important decision. You know, where you choose to make your, you know, your living arrangements, your base of operations or whatever. Where do you choose to live will be one of the important decisions you make. And if you talking about taking on a mortgage and whatnot, if you can't see yourself living there for at least 20 plus years, there's no even sense of you even buying a house whatsoever. It is better to rent than to own, in my personal opinion. Now, I know a lot of people will argue back and say that, oh, you know, if you're renting, you always forever have a bill. You'll never, you know, own anything or whatever. Well, so what? You forever got a bill when you got a house. Cause see what they don't tell you and what they don't teach you in school is, with a mortgage, when you go buy a house, you forever got a bill anyway. You don't never truly own the house, because even if you pay off the mortgage or whatever, you still got to pay personal property taxes on the house every year. You either pay it every month or you pay the whole lump sum at the, you know, at the end of beginning of the year or whatever, however they have it, you know, and you still got to pay the insurance on the house. So you still got a bill. And guess what happens? If you don't pay those personal property taxes, they're going to take your house. So realistically, you never truly own a house. It's a scam. You get it? They'll tell you to go buy this house, take on a mortgage. And mind you, a mortgage is just debt. That's all it is. Because America is built off of debt. They borrow money a lot. Think about the trillions of dollars in debt that America is in. It's all about debt. And one big way to put yourself in some massive debt is taking on a mortgage. You will never truly own that house, because you will always have to make payments. Because even if you pay the house off, you still never truly own it, because you will always have to pay personal property taxes, insurance, and all that stuff. And if you don't pay the personal property tax, guess what? They're going to take your house from you anyway. So you never truly own it, or whatever. Then with mortgages, you got to worry about your mortgages going up. You got, when you buy a house, you got what they call shadow fees. You got to pay the principal. And the biggest thing that kills a lot of people with having a house is the maintenance. That's the big thing. People like to think, oh yeah, I can afford this house. I can afford the cost of living. No, it's more to it than just that. Can you afford the maintenance? That's going to be the big thing, because a lot of people are house poor, meaning all their funds, all the money they make go towards the house. They're house poor. Yeah, they got a house, but by the time they're done paying all the bills and everything, they broke. They house poor. The maintenance, that's what kills a lot of people, is the maintenance and the services. It's not, a lot of times it's not about the fact, can you afford the cost of living monthly, the mortgage every month. It's, can you afford the maintenance? A lot of single women are finding that out to be hard. A lot of single women that don't got a man, single status women that don't got a man, going to go buy a house. And then 2 years later, they're saying, getting on TikTok, social media and stuff, I know y'all seen them, talking about how they can't afford their house. Yeah. Mortgage done went up. Maintenance. They ain't got a man. But most dudes, what they doing? They're renting. They got apartments. Or they're renting a house. I'll rent a house. If you want a house so bad, go rent it. But don't try to own it. All you're doing is taking up debt. And you don't want debt. The whole thing, and that's what I love about renting. You rent. Because renting is predictable. You know exactly how much you're going to pay. Yeah, the rent can rise up. Yes, inflation affects rent and stuff like that. But you ain't got to worry about maintenance. No insurance, and no taxes. That's a good thing. And the money, you don't got to worry about putting down a down payment when you're renting. And the good thing about renting is, the money, all that money that you will be saving from renting up front, then trying to own a mortgage, you take that money and you invest. See, renting gives you the ability to invest. It gives you the ability to invest. It saves you money, which gives you the ability to invest. It gives you flexibility financially. You get financial flexibility. You also get movement flexibility. You can go wherever you want, be wherever you want. One of the things I hate about having a house with mortgage, what I hated about having one, was the fact that you get stuck. You can't go nowhere. Sometimes you can't even chase opportunities, because when you have a house, you're stuck there. You have to stay with the house. You know, and houses build more income and are more valuable the longer you stay in them, because you're building up equity. See, you can't just move. If you move into a house and only lived in it for like 5 years, then decide you want to leave, well, you ain't built no equity. You ain't gonna really get much money if you ain't gonna be able to make much money selling the house or nothing like that. And on average, statistically, the average family or person or anybody that has a mortgage usually moves within the first 7 to 9 years, I believe it was, of owning a home. And within the first 7 to 10 years, you paying that mortgage, you're basically paying the interest. So when you try to sell that house, you really ain't gonna make a whole big buck off of it because there's no equity built in there. So that's an issue that a lot of people go in, and a lot of people sell their house for multiple different reasons. Their job. A lot of times it be job. It could be their job changed. Or they got fired. There was death. Their significant other passed away. Now they got to refinance or they got to move out. They can't afford it. Or they got to relocate because their job moved to a different spot or something, and they got to sell the house. But if you was renting, you don't have to worry about all that. You rent for whatever amount of time you want to do. They get to have different options. And with renting, you ain't, like, again, no down payment, no insurance, no personal property taxes, no interest. It's predictable. Yes, your rent can go up. But outside of that, it's predictable. You know exactly how much you're paying every month throughout the year. There's nothing surprising. There's no shadow fees. And you have flexibility. You can go where you want. You can, like, for instance, you can go rent an apartment somewhere, and let's say you don't like that area where you live at. You don't like it. You like, you know what? This is nice, but I don't really like it. You can go. Sorry about that. I shut the table real quick. But yeah, you can go. So it gives you ability to test out different places to live that would be ideal for you, your preference. You don't like where you're living at? Okay. After your lease contract is up, you can bounce. At the minimum, most places let you sign for at least a year. You live there for a year, you don't like it? Okay, you can bounce. Go somewhere else. You don't like it there? Bounce. Go somewhere else. It gives you flexibility. Whereas with a house, you take on a mortgage, you don't like it, tough tamale. You there. Yeah, you can leave. You can try to sell it, put the house on market, but man, you done paid all this money, all this down payment investment, you screwed. And a lot of people buy houses that they can't afford. Like I said, if you can't put down 20% of what the house is worth up front as a down payment, you can't even afford that house. Don't even attempt to do it. And one of the things is all about the money mindset. And I'm gonna talk and elaborate more about this in more videos. But you gotta have the money mindset. You gotta think about that. And part of that is you don't want to be house poor. You don't. You don't want to be sitting there with debt, and you don't want debt. And a mortgage is nothing but debt. It's thousands upon thousands of dollars worth of debt. And that's what you don't want. You don't want consumer debt. Because you want to be able to have as much money as you possibly can so you can invest. One of the good things about renting, the power of renting gives you the power to invest, generate multiple sources of income. You always want more than one source of income. You always do. That way, and renting offers you that. So you can generate that. So all that money you would be saving, not having a mortgage, not having a house, you can put that into investing into things, stocks, whatever it is you want to invest the money into, an IRA or whatever. For example, just a couple of examples right there. And again, I can elaborate on these on future videos, and I will. Right now, this is just, like I said, this is just something that was just on my mind that I just see is a problem with a lot of American people. They want you in debt. They don't teach you this stuff in school. A lot of American things and culture and traditions about putting you in debt. A mortgage is just you paying money to the bank. It was a ingenious strategy by the banks to create a mortgage. Google it. Look up the history of why a mortgage was even created in the first place. And it's nothing but a way for banks to make money. Banks make most of their money off of interest. What is a mortgage? You paying the debt to them in interest. And then if you was worth it, let's just say, for instance, you was worth to buy a house. You want to get the least amount of years you can. So let's say, for instance, 15 was the least amount you can get. You want to sign for 15. Don't do no 30-year mortgage or nothing like that. You're going to be sitting there paying way more than what the house is worth because of the interest. And like I said, choosing your location to live is a very important thing. If you can't see yourself living there for 20 plus years, I wouldn't even bother getting a mortgage. It would be a waste of money. Renting is the way to go. I'm trying to tell you here, right here and now. And this has been a thing for the last while. Look at all the rich people. Most rich people, what are they doing? They are renting. Not owning. The only time it's great, and right now with the way the economy is, inflation, it is just better absolutely to rent than to own. It just is. And I'm going to tell you something else. One of the, how do I say it? One of the things that you also need to be aware of, especially moving forward and here in 2025, is if you're in your 20s, do not allow nobody to convince you to buy a house. Even your parents. Don't try to take on a house. Don't try to buy a house. I don't care if you got a girlfriend, fiance, whatever, which honestly, if you're in your 20s, if you're a young man in your 20s, I don't even advise you to even have a girlfriend or a wife or fiance. You want to be a free agent. This is all about being the free agent lifestyle. That's why I call myself Pharaoh. This is the Pharaoh free lifestyle. But you want to be a free. And by being a free agent, something I learned from one of my mentors is basically, it's just like a free agent in sports. How that player, that athlete is able to go and shop his services wherever he wants to go. Well, that's what it is essentially here. You want to be free. I love freedom. And one of the most valuable things to me, besides peace of mind as a man, is freedom. I want to be free. I don't want no commitments, no obligations, no nothing. I want to be able to go where I want to go, be where I want to be. I want to make my money without giving it away. So, and a mortgage is one of those things. I talked about that in one of my first videos for my channel. In the top 5 things that young men in their 20s should not do. And I said it, mortgage is one of the things. Do not buy a house in your 20s. Don't do it. It is nothing but it's equivalent as going to college. Meaning it's a scam. Just like college is pretty much basically a scam. It's to put you in debt at an early age. Think about most people that go to college right now. They're in debt at the age of 18 already. They start their lives off in debt. What you think buying a house in your 20s is going to be? You're a man. You're broke in your 20s. Focus on getting your money up. You ain't even in your prime yet. You won't get to your man prime until you 35 years old. So from 18 to 35, you need to be hustling. Get your money. Don't take on no debts. Don't get no girlfriends. Don't get no wife. Don't have no kids. Don't worry about buying super expensive cars. None of that stuff. You don't want no debts, no commitments, no obligations. Be free. Because A house is going to keep you stuck somewhere. Wherever you at, you stuck there. When you got a mortgage. Now, if you renting a house, that's a different story. Renting and leasing, that's a different story. If you want a house so bad, rent it, lease it, or whatever. But don't take out a mortgage. Don't get a mortgage, is what I'm trying to basically say. Because it is nothing but debt that you can't afford. Especially if you in your 20s. So you Gen Zers and real young millennials, don't do it. Hell, even in your 30s, I wouldn't even do it. Now, wait till you turn 35 to want to decide if you want to get a house or not. And that's when you take a look at your finances, see where you peaking. Because like I said, it's like the late great Kevin Samuels say, by the time you turn 30, you want to be a Henry. High income, not rich yet. That's what Henry stands for. I'll say that again. High income, not rich yet. Henry. By the time you turn 30. By the time you turn 35, you should be peaking, making a substantial amount of better money. And then once your 40s is going to be your golden years. That's going to be the years where you really get things going on and popping, and you're going to really hit even more increases in income. But right now in your 20s, you can't afford no house. You can't afford the maintenance. The maintenance is going to get you. Because trust me, you're going to eventually, that house is going to need a new roof. Your water heater is going to go bad. Anything. You're going to have to service that house at some point. And if you ain't got the money to afford to do that, you're going to be shit out of luck. I'm going to tell you right now, straight up. Look, I'm one of them guys, I'm going to keep it real and authentic with you. I'll tell you what you want, what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. That's one thing about me. I'm going to keep it straight up real. It might be brutally honest. You might not like how I say it, but that's the real, it's about it. I'm going to tell you and teach you the things that they didn't teach us in school. They didn't tell us about this in school. They ain't going to tell you about this in college. They're going to try to put you in debt right off the bat at age 17, 18 years old. They're going to put you in debt. Do not get a mortgage and get a house in your 20s, even in your 30s. Renting is the best thing. And right now, the way the economy is, renting is the best thing. And even if the economy for the housing market would have been good, still, renting gives you freedom, flexibility. And that's what being a free agent is all about. Living that free lifestyle. You want to be free, man. You don't want no obligations, no commitments, no nothing. Be free. Do not take on a house. And I don't like it. Trust me, I learned from my own experience. I took on a house at the age of 20 from my parents. And one thing about having a mortgage, man, in the back of your mind, you always going to be thinking about, I got to pay this mortgage. I need to pay. It's almost like you work just to pay the mortgage because you want to pay that house off. Then you always got to think about servicing something, maintenance. This needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed. I need to upgrade this. I need to upgrade that. It's always going to be in your sight. And dude, you want peace of mind. And having that house, that's what it robbed me of. It robbed me the ability of movement. It robbed me of it took away some of my movement freedom, my financial freedom, and my peace of mind. It robbed me of those three things. Those three things are important. And I'm trying to teach you guys that same thing. Learn from my mistake. Do not take on a house in your 20s. I don't care what nobody says. Even if your parents try to tell you. Look, your parents going to tell you that stuff, but might try to tell you to go get a house or whatever. Forget that. That American dream is a bunch of bullshit. It's a scam. It's no different than child support and alimony, which is all grouped together as lifestyle support. It's all a scam to keep you in debt. Don't. Don't. If you want financial freedom and movement freedom, do not get a mortgage. Rent is one of the best things you can do. And I know people are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. And say that rent is better because I know, you got the different things where like people will say, oh, well, you always have a payment, or you're always going to be, or you're paying the landlord, and all this, that, and third. It's a myth. First of all, that whole you just throwing the money away to a landlord thing, that's just a myth. You're really not. And these landlords aren't sitting here making buku money off of you like that. Like they're just super rich. Like, no, it's not like they can just make up any price to charge you for rent. No, it's not like that. The only time, and I'm gonna tell you this, the only time I will say the exception to the, because there's always exceptions to the rule, anomalies or whatever, when it comes to getting a mortgage, buying a house, getting a mortgage, is if one, you buying a farmhouse, farmland. Because buying farms is one of the best ways you can get your return investment. Because you can make money off of that. There's profit, there's money to be made. So you can get your return investment. That's not bad. Or, secondly, if you buying property to put tenants in there because you're getting into like the real estate business, you buying some rental property to rent out to somebody to make passive income. Again, you want to always make more income anyway. You want multiple sources of income. That's not bad if you're buying a house for that reason. And the third reason is if you know you're a handyman. Now, if you know you're a handyman, you're the type of guy that can go out to Lowe's, Home Depot or something and, basically fix things. Like, for instance, if your water heater goes out, you'll go to Lowe's, Home Depot or something, go buy yourself a water heater and install it yourself. You can save a lot of money. See, you're not losing a whole lot of money in maintenance. Because, like I said, maintenance is the biggest thing that's going to kill you. So you're not losing a whole lot of money in maintenance if you're a handyman. If you know how to fix, big things, you can fix your water heater, you can make repairs, you know how to do plumbing, running wires and stuff like that. You can do those things. You save a lot of money. So therefore, okay, buying a house would be good for you then. But those are 3 reasons for it. Other than that, if you're not none of that stuff, don't. See me, I'm free. I don't want no commitments, no obligations, no nothing like that. And things I wish I would have known when I was in my 20s, I know now. And that's why I'm trying to sit here and teach y'all these things and tell y'all these things. Don't get no house in your 20s. You want to stay free. You want to be able to chase opportunities when they present themselves. You want to be able to chase that money when it presents itself, no matter where it's at. Renting will give you that freedom, that flexibility to do that. Owning will not. And you spend a lot more money. But for right now, that's all I'm going to say on this. I'm going to elaborate more on these things later on about house ownership, especially when I can show y'all some statistical graphs and some numbers and stuff like that. We'll get into that, a lot more later on. But this was just a little, 30-minute video, whatever, just to let you guys know a few things as to why I hate owning a house and why renting, in my personal opinion, is way better, especially if you want to live this free lifestyle. Being free, the Pharaoh free lifestyle, being free, being a free agent, just being able to shop your services whenever, wherever you want to go, making money and not spending money on extra stuff. This is one of those things, and buying a house is one of those things. That's a debt you don't want, and you don't want debt. You want to reduce and not have consumer debt at all. And a mortgage is nothing but debt. That's all it is. The banks are making a bunch of money off of you. to me personally, it's not worth it. Not for the lifestyle that I want to live. I don't fall under those three categories. I'm not a handyman. Right now I'm not in the business of buying any type of farmland. I do want to buy some property one day to rent for tenants because I'm all about making money, and that's a good business right there. So I will in the future. I definitely probably will purchase some property and become a landlord myself, making money. But that's the thing. You don't want that, especially when you're in your 20s. Look, when you're in your 20s, you broke. You ain't got time to be worrying about maintenance, paying off a mortgage, and all that. No, don't listen to nobody. I don't care if it's your girlfriend. I don't care if it's your parents. That American dream of buying a house is bullshit. This is 2025. Do not get no house. Renting is the best and better option, especially if you do it right. And you have to invest the money that you're saving in renting versus having a house. You need to invest it into investments. But if you want to live this Pharaoh-free lifestyle, one of the things you can do that will help you is not take on a mortgage. I can't stand it. I hate it. And you want peace of mind. We're men. All men want peace of mind. Mortgage will not give you that. Didn't give me that anyway. Some people can make it work. I'm not saying, that some people can't. Like I say, but for me, for this for the Pharaoh-free lifestyle, guys, don't get a mortgage. Do not pay all this debt. Do not put yourself in that debt. Rent. Less things you got to worry about. Less thing on your mental, on your psyche, which means you ain't wasting brain power and energy thinking about worrying about maintenance and fixing something. If you want a house so badly, go rent you a house or lease one. That's fine. Go get you a townhouse or a regular house or whatever. Lease it. But don't try to own. Don't take no mortgage out. Don't. You will save yourself a lot of money. Like I said, we're going to elaborate and we're going to talk about and have more discussions about this stuff in later future dates. But right now, I just want to give just a general idea of why I personally hate mortgages and hate buying a house and why I wouldn't recommend it. So, to the next video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Get this video out here, get this video in the algorithm so we can help people. I want to build this community up. I want to build a nice, good, strong community on this channel because we're going to talk about a lot of good lifestyle things, man. Look, I want y'all to live the good life. Health, wealth, love, and happiness. The 4 pillars to the good life. That's what we're going to be about. That's what we're going to be talking about. This is the Pharaoh life-free lifestyle. So please, leave a like, share with your friends, your family, co-workers, colleagues. Leave a like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Let's help this channel grow. Let's help get this channel out here in the algorithm. And I'm going to keep dropping content, keep dropping knowledge, keep dropping, wisdom and all kinds of things that I learned, things that I made mistakes from. That way y'all don't make it. And those of y'all that made those same mistakes, y'all can relate. And we're going to talk about this, but please, and again, leave a comment. Tell me what y'all think about this whole thing. Do y'all like renting versus owning? I want to know. I want to know what y'all say. Do y'all agree or disagree with me? Like I said, I personally prefer renting over owning. Y'all let me know what y'all like. So until then, peace out. Appreciate y'all.